to the African Diary Show with Kathy. That's it. The Black Fire Radio, and you listen to African Diary Show with Patty. Massive, stay tuned.
Piga lukukula waanchapi. Waanchapi. Piga lukukula waanchapi.
Piga lukukula waanchapi.
Waanchapi. Piga lukukula waanchapi.
Manse, tangu lini Malaria mimi aje? Sante, wakule update. Baby niko kanisani. Nakaja. Wareni. Tena mzee. Dhudha na majeki. Comrade unatiki kanairo utaishi aje na lukuna haitesi. Hey. Piga lukukula waanchapi. Piga lukukula waanchapi. Waanchapi. Piga lukukula waanchapi. Kula wawa. Nipo atapet Maneki ama Adidas.
All the way in Switzerland, and you're tuning into the Black Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with
Pete mimba Maneki ama Adidas. Sema Iza Sigarisa Kula wa anchapi. Wa anchapi. Piga lukukula wa anchapi. Yes, wagwang my good people. Wa anchapi. Piga lukukula wa anchapi. Sijui ni tax amnini. Inafanya ni mbili. Unataka nini? Yes, my name is Katie and this is the African Diary Show. Karibuni and karibuni tena sana. I hope you're doing great and I hope this Thursday morning is finding you at great health and peace. But karibuni sana once again to the African Diary Show. My name is Katie, in case you're there joining us for the first time. To all those who are listening to me via the radio station, karibuni sana. To all those who are with me on the Facebook application, to all those who are with me on the YouTube, and to everybody who is just logged in with us, karibuni sana once again. My name is Katie. This is the African Diary Show, and in case you're wondering what is the African Diary Show all about, it is where we get to discuss about the African continent, about what is happening in the beautiful continent of Africa, and always it is not so many things that are good coming from the beautiful continent of Africa. So karibuni sana, let's get to talk about whatever is happening in the continent, and today our main focus, it is going to all African countries, just like all African countries, but majorly we shall be discussing about 12 African countries that are supposed to get malaria vaccine. And I'm like, so we need even a vaccine for malaria. Anyway, I don't want to talk much about that. We're not even we're not even supposed to talk that much on YouTube, so we shall be highlighting about that. But also remember to keep it interactive. Remember, we are live and interactive on our media handles. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere at Black Hot Fire Network. To all those who are with me on YouTube, remember you can always get to interact with me on our website as well. To all those who are with us on the radio station, kindly get to interact with us on the show page, the live stream, because that is where we are live and interactive on. But karibuni sana. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing great, and I hope this day is finding you at great health and peace. As for me, I'm doing great. I feel blessed. Yesterday we went to see HR perform, and it was a good show, and it was all good, manze, all good vibes, and inshallah. But anyway, yes, let's not talk about that, because I'm about to make you feel jealous about this. I'm about to share some videos of what really happened yesterday on the WhatsApp chat. So in case you're there and you are not signed into our WhatsApp chat, kindly make sure you make an effort of signing into the WhatsApp chat. But anyway, karibuni sana once again. And as I said, on today's episode, we shall be discussing about 12 countries that are about to get the malaria vaccine. And I'm like, hey, malaria vaccine? Okay. But yesterday there was this video I had promised to share with you, and then unfortunately StreamYard misbehaved. So I will get to share this video about why, or rather about secret reasons why the world depends on Africa. But I talked about this, and we said that Africa is one of the continents that other continents would not survive without. So we're going to discuss this, we're going to talk about this, and remember to keep it interactive and remember to tell me what are even the reasons you feel like we have, or rather what are the reasons why you think that other continents would not be surviving without Africa. So we're going back to one more jam. We shall be back with an African proverb of the day, in case you have some wise words, in case you have some wise sayings, in case you have some proverb of the day, in case you have some motivational quotes of the day. Please make sure to keep it coming, and also remember to interact with me on the live stream, on wherever chat room you just want to interact with me. We're going back to one more jam. We will be back with one quote of the day.
Nilikuwa babaya, unaniokoa Mesaya.
Oh, Reggie.
Greetings and salutations, massive viewers and interrupters all the way in Switzerland. And you're tuning into the Black Hot Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Catchy. Massive.
Oh, Reggie, Regina, oh, Reggie, Regina, oh. Michael over there says that the strength of a crocodile is in the water. And this simply means that people can be strong in their right environment. Yes, that is very true. People can be strong in their right environment. So the strength of a crocodile is in the water. So in case you're not in the right environment, you're allowed to fumble, but no, don't fumble. Don't fumble. Remember to always not fumble. Regina, oh Reggie, oh Reggie.
If you wanna be a movie star,
Unanikosha. Regina, oh Reggie, Regina, oh Reggie. Yes, we're not going to do music all day. I wish today was on Friday, but Friday is tomorrow, so we're going to do music tomorrow. But anyway, karibuni sana once again. I promised to share this wonderful video with you, and it is talking about the secret reasons why the world depends on Africa. And yesterday I was talking about Africans not knowing their worth, and this is very true. Yesterday we were talking about Botswana. Our main focus was about Botswana signing a big diamond deal with the De Beers. And you know the De Beers are the Europeans, and they got into an agreement of the De Beers mining their diamond for 25 years, not 29, sorry, for 25 years, for like they have been there in the country, they have been mining their diamond in the country. Remember, mind you, Botswana is considered as one of the most poorest country in the world, but they have diamond. They are rich in minerals. But what happens to their mineral? It is because the De Beers are mining the minerals. And yesterday we talked about Botswana signing, or rather getting into a deal with the De Beers for 25 years, that the De Beers will be mining their diamond. And this is why we come as Africans saying that we don't know our worth. This is why I come here and talk to Africans, because I'm just angry with Africans. How comes you don't discover how much you're worth? How comes you don't discover these minerals? These European countries wouldn't be surviving without your minerals, wouldn't be surviving without Africa's existence. You know, it is very crazy with Africa, but I told you, it is high time we discover how much we offer to the European countries. It is high time we discover what word we are bringing to these European countries, because we are so, like, we are worthful, we are worth so much, but we don't discover this. And this is why we give out our resources to the Europeans for free, of which should it be happening. Yesterday we were talking about Botswana, and what have they done? They have given out their diamond actually for free. They don't earn anything from that diamond. They would tell you that the GDP of the country is being contributed by the diamond in the country. But tell me, you just talk. Tell me, with a reasonable mind, a country worth diamonds, is it supposed to have a GDP of Botswana? Of course not. A country that is rich in diamond is supposed to be very high economically. The economy is very good, very stable. But look at Botswana. Imagine the country rich in diamond being considered as the world's most poorest country. It is just crazy with Africans. And I said, it is high time we discover we are the table. You see how they ask you, what do you bring to the table? We are the table. Africa is the table. But we don't discover this as Africans. But it is high time we discover this. But anyway, straight to our video. This is a video talking about different secrets about, or rather different secrets reason why the world depends on Africa. And I keep on saying this, we keep on saying this, that most on Africa, they wouldn't be surviving without. What do they need to hear this? What do they need to be told to know that the world is depending on them? And now to know what they are worth and start taking advantage of that. It is just crazy, because imagine we would be taking advantage of our richness in mineral. We tax them. We sell it to them. And we determine our market. We determine the cost of our minerals, because we are the only countries, or rather we are the only continent with these minerals. And at a particular time, they must need these minerals. But what do? We just give it to them for free. It is just crazy with Africans. But anyway, let's get to this video real quick as we continue with our show for today.
This is why the world cannot survive without Africa. Sometimes nicknamed the mother continent due to its being the oldest inhabited continent on Earth. Humans and human ancestors have lived in Africa for more than 5
I just
years.
hate oh shit. Oh, what did I do?
The US. This is why the world
Okay.
cannot survive without.
I just hate the fact that these people use this example, the ape example. And why are we being compared to the ape?
This is why the world cannot survive.
Okay, I know they cannot survive without us. But why do they always make us look like apes and monkeys? And this is so. We remember some Chinese calling President Uhuru Kenyatta a monkey. He never reacted on this. Actually, he just deported the Chinese, but it was not too personal. But why does the evolution of the African people have to involve, or rather has to do with the apes? Because they just want us to look at ourselves as animals, while in the actual sense, these people are the animals, because we're never the animals. We're not the apes. We're not the gorillas. We're not the orangutans. Anyway, let's just continue.
Survive without Africa. Sometimes nicknamed the mother continent due to its being the oldest inhabited continent on Earth. Humans and human ancestors have lived in Africa for more than 5 million years. The origin of the name Africa is greatly disputed by scholars. Most believe it stems from words used by the Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans. Important words include the Egyptian word Afruiga, meaning motherland, the Greek word Afrik, meaning without cold, and the Latin word Africa, meaning sunny. Being the second largest continent, it is bounded by the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, and the Atlantic Ocean. It is divided in half almost equally by the equator. What is Africa's uniqueness? Africa is rich in natural resources ranging from arable land, water, oil, natural gas, minerals.
But as Africans, we pretend not to know this. We are rich in everything. We have oil, minerals, we have gases, but we pretend not to know this. You know, it is just crazy with Africans. We have everything, but we are the poorest continent on this planet. It is just crazy. How are we poor with all these minerals, with all these resources? How are we poor? Why don't we utilize our resources? Why don't we take advantage of what we have to get what we don't have? You know what we don't have in Africa? We don't have industries. We don't have production sites. And this is why the Europeans make sure they're coming to steal our resources. They created production sites in their countries. They come steal our raw resources and then, or rather raw materials, and then they go create the product. They come and sell it to us just because we lack raw material. No, we don't lack raw materials. We actually have them. We have everything we need. But just because we lack industries, just because we lack production in our countries, it is just insane. How many resources do we need to sell just to create these industries? But just because they are there to make sure that Africa is impoverished and we have docile minds as Africans, this is why we never realize this. This is why we never take advantage of what we have. But anyway.
30% of the world's mineral reserves, rich in natural resources ranging from arable land, water, oil, natural gas, minerals, forests, and wildlife. The continent holds a huge proportion of the world's natural resources, both renewables and non-renewables. Home to some 30% of the world's mineral reserves, 8% of the world's natural gas, and 12% of the world's oil reserves. The continent has 40% of the world's gold, and up to 90% of its chromium and platinum. The largest reserves of cobalt, diamonds, platinum, and uranium in the world are in Africa. It holds 65% of the world's arable land and 10% of the planet's internal renewable freshwater sources.
65% of the most arable lands. But what do we do with that? What do we do with that? Crazy.
In most African countries, natural capital accounts for between 30% and 50% of total wealth. Over 70% of people living in sub-Saharan Africa depend on forests and woodlands for their livelihoods. Land is an economic development asset as well as a socio-cultural resource. A significant share of these resources is, however, used unsustainably, while others are lost through illegal activities, meaning that the stream of benefits generated from these resources is being reduced over time. For instance, Africa loses an estimated $195 billion annually of its natural capital through illicit financial flows, illegal mining, illegal logging, the illegal trade in wildlife, unregulated fishing, and environmental degradation and loss. Collectively, the continent has a lot to gain in pulling together and harnessing its vast natural resources to finance the development agenda towards greater prosperity. And it must also ensure that future growth and exploitation of natural resources is results-oriented, climate-resilient, and sustainable. These reasons can explain why the world cannot do without Africa. 1. Favorable climate. Tropical wet conditions occur along the equator, the Gulf of Guinea, and the East Madagascar coast. Temperatures remain near 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, year-round. Annual precipitation varies from 152 centimeters, 60 inches, inland to 330 centimeters, 130 inches along the coasts. Important crops in Africa's tropical wet regions include plantain, pineapple, coffee, cocoa, and oil palms. Palm oil is the primary cooking oil in Africa, as familiar as olive oil or corn oil in North America. Savanna conditions occur in much of eastern and southern Africa. Temperatures here are cooler and more variant than in tropical wet regions. Annual precipitation is between 50 and 152 centimeters. The dry season in the savanna can last as long as 6 months.
I mean, this is the continent suffering from starvation, but what happens? We have people dying because of starvation, hunger, and famine, but we have the most arable lands. And also remember, even with the warmest seasons, or rather with the driest seasons, we can also make something. We have crops that grow in dry seasons, but we don't utilize that. We just think that the Europeans said this, the weather will be like this, and this is why they are trying to push this agenda of the weather, or rather the climate change, so that you can be affected as a continent. But remember, you are sitting in the 65% most arable lands. What do you do with that information as African continent? We have Horn of Africa, people dying, animals dying just because they lack food, just because of starvation. It is just crazy with Africans. When are we gonna realize our worth? When are we when are we going to just sit down and realize, we're not supposed to depend on these people. We only need to tell them, just leave. Fuck off. Leave our countries. When are we going to do this? Because it is just crazy with Africans depending on the Europeans while we are sitting on the most arable lands, in the most productive lands, in the most fertile soils, but our people are dying because of hunger and starvation. It is just crazy. Just crazy. Right now, we are about to be taken to a motion of climatic changes. We are about to be told, this is happening to your country. You need to do this and this and this because there's climate changes. It is just crazy with Africans. Can we just realize our worth and stand up for what is rightful ours? Can we just do that? It is just crazy with Africans.
Important savanna crops include cassava, peanuts, peppers, okra, eggplant, cucumber, and watermelon. Africa's most important grain crops, millet and sorghum, are grown here. Desert conditions occur in northern Africa, especially in the Sahara and the Sahel. Temperatures can range from 54 degrees Celsius, 130 degrees Fahrenheit on the hottest days to freezing on the coldest nights. Annual precipitation never exceeds 25 centimeters, 10 inches, and some areas go without rain for years. Important desert crops include date palms and cotton. Mediterranean climate conditions occur along the extreme north. Temperatures, dry summers, and moderately rainy winters. Important crops include figs.
We can produce all this, but we have our people in Africa
Olives,
dying because
oranges,
of hunger and starvation.
And large vegetables, such as cabbage and cauliflower. Highland conditions of the Ethiopian highlands. Temperatures here are much colder than in the surrounding
Karibu
lowlands.
sana K. Williams. There's nothing new. I'm just ranting because Africans don't know their worth, and we really need to realize our worth because we are worth enough not even to be considered as a third world continent. We are worth enough not even to compete with the Europeans. We are worth enough to feed the whole galaxy, not even the planet, the whole galaxy. It is just crazy with Africans, just that we don't realize our worth and we just sit back, relax, and wait for the Europeans to control us. What are we going to do to this Desmond with leaders? They're just put there. What are we going to do about it? I feel like we need to just uproot them, just fight them. That is what we want. And you know, when somebody, or rather when everybody is fighting somebody, nobody gets to accept them. Because why are you being fought by everybody? This is what we need to do as Africans. These puppets, we need to fight them together. Let's just wake up one day and decide today we are not going to tolerate Ruto being on that seat again. We need a person who cares for the whole country. We need a person who is of any good to the country.
On the orientation of the mountain to moisture-bearing winds. Agriculture, which is considered the continent's
must be
single
nice,
most
Kerry
important.
Williams. You're saying it is a very good day, or rather, it is a very good hot day there. Man, it is very cold in Nairobi. We are at 66.4 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not loving it, but I just had to freeze and shine in the
economic activity. Agriculture employs 2/3 of the continent's working population and contributes 20 to 60% of GDP. Is the total value of goods and services produced in a country during 1 year. Important crop forestry and forest. On average, forest products account for 6% of Africa's gross domestic product, GDP, more than any other continent. This is a result of Africa's abundant forest cover, with 0.8 hectares, 2 acres, per person, compared with 0.6 hectares, 1.5 acres, globally. In Central and Western Africa, where forest cover is heaviest, the forest sector contributes more than 60% of the GDP. The export of forest products, especially high-grade woods like mahogany and okuma, brings in significant revenue. These woods are mostly found in the countries of the Congo Basin, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Republic of the Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea, where there is a dense rainforest. Okuma, for example, accounts for 90% of the trees logged in Gabon. These woods are generally exported to Japan, Israel, and the European Union. Mahogany and okuma are used to make everything from homes to musical instruments to lightweight aircraft. Today, Africa is torn between developing its forests to their fullest economic potential and protecting these natural landscapes from overdevelopment. For instance, the Central African Forests Commission regulates Africa's forestry sector and promotes sustainable uses of the Congo Basin's rainforest products. The Commission created the Sanga Tri-National Landscape, a reserve that covers more than 1 million hectares, 2.4 million acres, of rainforest in Cameroon, the Central African Republic, and the Republic of the Congo. Fishing pole. Africa's fishing industry provides income to more than 10 million people and has an annual export value of
But
$2.7
what have we
billion.
been seeing with this fishing industry, or rather the fishing industry, like the aqua industry? They have been trying to kill our fish, trying to finish the fishing industry just because they want to take over the whole continent, and they just want to know that they just want to make sure that we don't realize our worth with killing the fishing industry. And remember, the moment they realized that they can never conquer us, they started destroying our resources, they started destroying our lands, our weather, our properties, our minerals. They started stealing it. But we are worth so much to fight against these people. We just need to realize how much we are worth as African people.
Africa has fisheries on all its marine coasts as well as inland. The Great Lakes and Nile River, for instance, support huge freshwater fisheries.
It
Marine
was me,
fisheries
K.
are
Williams.
important
Yes,
to
of
many
course, I did the show about the diamonds in Africa, and it was about Botswana signing a deal with the De Beers, and the De Beers are actually Europeans. It is a European mining company that has been stealing minerals from Africa. It is just like the other mineral company. What did we call this? It was the Franco what? I wish I can remember that name, but in case I remember, I'll just tell you. It is just crazy with Africans. You know, just crazy with Africans. We just don't realize how much we're worth. And this is why these people will keep on taking advantage of us. This is why so many of our people will keep on dying because of starvation and hunger, just because we don't realize we have 65% of the most arable land on this galaxy.
coastal countries in Africa. Most economically important fishing zones in the world, producing 4.5 million tons of fish in 2000. Namibia and South Africa are also major players in the marine fish market, exporting between 80 and 90% of their fish annually. The Eastern African countries of Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, and Kenya have well-established fisheries in the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. Small fish, such as herring and sardines, are the most common catch on the African coastline. However, larger fish, such as tuna, cod, hake, and haddock, are the most more than 3,000 fish species and account for 2/3 of global inland fish production. Unlike marine fisheries, the catch from Africa's inland fisheries is not exported. It is consumed almost entirely on the continent, forming a major source of people's protein intake. Africa's Great Lakes support the largest inland fisheries on the continent. Lake Victoria is the most productive freshwater fishery in the world, producing more than 500,000 tons of fish worth $600 million every year. The Nile perch, a highly prized catch that can weigh more than 45 kilograms, 100 pounds, and the Nile tilapia are Lake Victoria's dominant commodity. Africa is a major producer of important metals and minerals. Metals exported by African countries include uranium, used to produce nuclear energy, platinum, used in jewelry and industrial applications, nickel, used in stainless steel, magnets, coins, and rechargeable batteries, bauxite, a main aluminum ore, and cobalt, used in color pigments. In 2008, Africa produced about 483 tons of gold, or 22% of the world's total production. South Africa accounts for almost half of Africa's gold production. Ghana, Guinea, Mali, and Tanzania are other major producers of gold. Richness in diamond. Africa dominates the global diamond market. In 2008, the continent produced 55% of the world's diamonds. Botswana, Angola, South Africa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Namibia are Africa's largest producers of diamonds. Unfortunately, several African conflicts and civil wars have been caused and funded by the diamond industry. Diamonds that come from these regions are known as conflict diamonds or blood diamonds. In 2002, the United Nations created the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, KPCS, in order to certify diamonds from sources that are free of conflict. The KPCS also aims to prevent diamond sales from financing wars. Countries that do not meet KPCS requirements are not allowed to trade with much of the rest of the world. The Republic of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Côte d'Ivoire have all been expelled at some point in the last decade. Africa is home to select deposits of oil and natural gas, which are drilled for energy and fuel. In 2007, the continent produced 12.5% of the world's total oil production and 6.45% of the world's total natural gas production. Nigeria, Libya, Algeria, Egypt, and Angola dominate Africa's oil industry. Oil exploration has significantly
While we are seeing troubles with Nigeria in the oil production and fuel and everything, like Africa, we're facing the most harshest condition when it comes to fuel production and oil. You know, it is just crazy. We are the biggest producers, but we are getting nothing. We're paying the most to get this fuel that is on our lands. How is this making sense as Africans? Why don't we take advantage of what we have? Why are we not utilizing our resources and letting the Europeans utilize this? Just because we don't refine our oil? How much is refining the oil? How many gallons do you need to sell to the Europeans and then just open a refinery for yourselves? Africans, I just feel like Africans were just not business oriented. We're just here to just fool around, make sure that the Europeans are taking advantage of us. And for me, I'm not in for that. It's either I sell it for you with my own price, not you to decide, with my own price, or no, forever. Just stay without it. And we know you cannot go without it. Of course, you need me. So you have to buy with my price. But Africans, we don't realize that we can set the tone of the market. We don't realize this. We don't realize we are the owners of these resources and they lie in our lands. And that's where we go wrong as Africans. It is just crazy with us.
Increased on the continent, and many countries are looking to become first-time producers. The built environment. Africa's natural resource economy contributes greatly to the continent's built environment, or human-made buildings and structures. The largest engineering projects and urban areas are directly linked to the production and trade of resources, such as water, oil, and minerals. Yet, much like the resource economies described above, Africa's infrastructure suffers from poor management and inefficient government regulation. Africa is home to a number of engineering marvels. The Aswan Dam, a complex of 2 dams in Aswan, Egypt, captures the world's longest river, the Nile, in the world's 3rd largest reservoir, Lake Nasser. The Aswan High Dam, the newer and larger of the 2 dams, produces more than 10 billion kilowatt hours of electricity every year, enough power for about 15% of the country. The Aswan Dam complex regulates the
Enough power. We have enough power. Why is South Africa suffering out of power cuts? Why do we have to go for hours without electricity in our countries? It is just crazy with Africans. We have enough power for us and even to sell. But why are we running out of electricity and power every time? It is just crazy with Africans. Why don't we realize our worth? And we start taking advantage of that. We start capitalizing that. We start monetizing that.
Of the Nile and stores water for agriculture. While farmland has increased by 500% as a result of the dam, land fertility has decreased. Nutrient-rich silt is unable to spread over the Nile Valley because it is trapped in Lake Nasser. The Driefontein gold mine outside of Johannesburg, South Africa, is one of the largest gold mines in the world. The mine is made up of 8 shafts that reach depths of up to 3,352 meters, 11,000 feet, underground. One of the shafts is in the process of being deepened to about 4,115 meters, 13,500 feet, making it the deepest mine in the world. 2 urban areas that demonstrate Africa's uneven growth are Lagos, Nigeria, and Johannesburg, South Africa. Both of these large cities have distinct economic engines that make them favorable for growth. At the same time, each faces
we have everything we require in Africa. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with the Africans? Because I feel like there's something wrong with us. And this is why we just don't take advantage of what we have. Just don't monetize what we have and take advantage of these Europeans. Because at the end of the day, they keep on taking advantage of us. Why don't we just decide it is high time we start taking advantage of them? Why don't we just decide our economy should be higher than theirs? Our economy should be better than theirs. We have everything we require. We are suffering we're suffering from everything. We don't have food. We are food insecure in our continent. Electricity problems, power cuts every time. Every now and then, we even have water problems. I remember there were 2 months in my house without running water in the taps. 2 months. Imagine. And they used to say that the water levels are very low. While we know we can dig wells, we know that we have everything to drill water into our country. But just because we are lazy and we don't see that as an advantage to us, we just quiet. It is just crazy. We have gases. Right now, how much is a gas cylinder? 13.1 kg. How much is that? It is very expensive right here in the 254. You don't know how much we pay to refill our gases. But just because we're too docile, we're too quiet to fight for our rights, we don't even find that so we can capitalize and monetize what we have. We just let them use them and take advantage of us. But it is enough. Why can't somebody, or rather, why can't everyone just wake up and decide it is enough? We have everything. We have the arable lands we need to farm. We have everything we require in our country, and we just don't need your white ass in our country. Why don't you decide this? It is just crazy with Africans. But anyway.
Similar problems as a result of this growth. Business centers. Lagos is
General
Africa's
Mosquito, I
second
agree
most.
with you. Africa is suffering for no reason. Actually, Africa is suffering just for our ignorance and stupidity and docility. Because, General Mosquito, how many resources do we have even to make us enough money? How many? You know, the problem with Africans is just that we don't control our own shit. The problem with Africans, we just let the Europeans and believe the Europeans that they can control every shit we have and they can get money we need to get. It is just crazy with Africans. Crazy. It is crazy with Africans.
Populous city with a population of about 10.2 million people. Lagos is growing 10 times faster than New York City, New York, or Los Angeles, California in the United States. The United Nations estimates that Lagos will be one of the largest megacities in the world by 2015. Lagos is the commercial and industrial hub of Nigeria, which has a gross domestic product that is triple that of any other West African country. Located on the oil-rich Gulf of Guinea and adjacent to the Niger Delta, Lagos is a center of oil extraction, refining, and export. The city is tied to the rise and fall of oil prices, creating cycles of extreme wealth and poverty. Lagos' unregulated growth has created a sprawling and chaotic urban landscape. Poor immigrants from rural Nigeria have flooded the city looking for economic opportunities. Residential zones are overcrowded, averaging 6 people per room. Slum communities are growing rapidly, taking over
Imagine on the richest continent we have slums. That is very sad. You know how inhuman this is, and still these are the people you trust for your continent, or rather with your continent. They keep you in poverty, they keep you in living in slums, swimming in shit, but you still trust them with your continent. How are we gonna realize what we're doing to our continent? When? Because I'm so tired with seeing Africans living in poverty. I'm so tired with Africans suffering the most while we are living on the most beautiful, most expensive, because I feel like we are too expensive for them, but we just don't realize this. We just don't monetize this. We just let them take advantage of this. We are in the most arable lands. We are sitting in the most expensive lands full of minerals, golds. We have diamonds. We have everything we require, but we just let them take over. We're suffering for no reason, General Mosquito. It is just us. I believe we're suffering for no reason, because if we just decided If we just woke up today and just decide, hey, today we're not letting the Europeans go and mine our diamond. Today we are not going to let the Europeans mine our gold. Today we are taking over. And today is the day we are getting back to our Africa. Today is the day we are getting Africa back from them. You know, it is just crazy with Africa. Yesterday, we went to watch HR perform, and the place they were performing, it is a high-end place. It is called Lavington. You can all search or rather Google Lavington in Kenya. And Lavington is a place where you'll find so many white people. And I was like, oh, so these people, they come, keep us in poverty, but they go to the high-end places that we don't even think of going because we are in poverty, places we can't even afford a bottle of liquor just because we're in poverty, and they come to our African countries and overtake these places. You'd even find that place is not owned by a Kenyan, not owned by an African, but I wish it is. Anyway, I was just giving an example. It is very sad for us to realize what is happening to our continents, but we need to realize this and we need to feel the sadness in this and now overtake our continent. Our continent is really gone. Our continent is really overtaken, and we need to take it back. We need to take it back. We need to own it again. This is Africa. This is not Europe. This is not Asia. We need to own it back. This is not Antarctica. It is Africa. We need to own it back. We need to claim it. We need to tell the Europeans, please, can you just go and leave? Never come back. Don't even look back. Not even, please. Can you just disappear from our continent? Never look back. Never say that you are in Africa. Or maybe you can just include it in your biography, but never say you owned something in Africa because that was African shit. They need to return our stolen artifacts. We need to reclaim our history. We need to reclaim everything that they have stolen from us for us to be Africa again, for us to be complete Africa. We need to be dependent. We need to stop depending on them. We need to be independent and dependent on ourselves because they have made sure that we are depending on them, and this is why we lack a lot from our continents. Our countries. And this is why we're suffering from lack of food. This is why we're suffering from food insecurities, just because we depend on them so much. We need to stop that. We need to depend on ourselves. We need to be Africans again. We need to be prestigious with everything we have in Africa. We need to own it and say this is ours. But anyway, family, let's get to the main focus of the day. And this is about 12 African states getting a malaria vaccine. And I'm just like, oh, so you need this? You need this? I thought malaria, or rather, I thought mosquitoes just needed a mosquito net and then it's done. Just needed a doom and then it's gone. But right now you need vaccines to protect you from malaria. This is just crazy and insane. But Africans, just because we're docile, we're going to take this. Imagine. It is just crazy with Africans. But we have 12 African states that are supposed to be receiving a new malaria vaccine. Why do we need a vaccine for malaria? Why are we protecting ourselves from something we know we can get? It is just crazy. It is just crazy with these vaccines. Anyway, the World Health Organization and its partners says that around 18 million doses of the world's first malaria vaccine will be delivered to 12 African nations by 2025. Among them are Malawi, we have Ghana, and Kenya. Oh my God, Kenya. Where the Mosquirix vaccine already been used in pilot schemes. With demand outstripping supply, priority will go to countries with the greatest need and where maximum impact will be achieved. The World Health Organization and its partners say around 18 million doses of the world's first malaria vaccine will be delivered to 12 African nations by 2025. And I said we have Kenya, we have Ghana, we have Malawi, we have so many African countries. It is just crazy. And we have so many African people willing to take this vaccine. When are we just going to realize that these things are not even helpful to our body? Because I feel like, why are you taking something? Okay, you're taking a vaccine to protect you from getting some sort of disease. But at the end of the day, you'll get this disease. Why are you protecting yourself then? You know, we know that protection is better than cure, but why am I protecting myself while I know I can get this disease? It is just crazy. Then malaria. Malaria is some curable disease. It is not a disease with no cure. It is some curable disease. We don't need vaccine for this. Anyway, we know what they do with docile African minds. We know. But with demand outstripping supply, priority will go to countries with the greatest need, where maximum impact will be achieved. So Kenya is, it is just crazy. So Kenya, we really need this? I don't think so, but this is what the WHO has to tell you. Kenya, you really need a malaria vaccine. It is just crazy. Mozambique and Sudan have been excluded because of the high vaccine dropout rates. The WHO says the vaccine developed by the British. Why the British? Why can't we develop our own? If it was really meant to help us, it wouldn't be having the tag of the British people. Farm GSK could save one life from every 200 children vaccinated. Malaria kills 500,000 African children under 5 each year. It is just crazy. I feel like this is just a propaganda, but anyway, we are on YouTube. I'm not going to deepen under that, or rather to deepen much on that, because we know what happens. And also with this vax and everything, the ugali shots, we know what's the agenda. But at the end of the day, I'd urge my people, just take the precautions of avoiding getting malaria. We have mosquito nets. Just use them. Why can't you just use mosquito nets and avoid yourself from getting bitten by the mosquitoes? Why do you need the vaccine? It is just crazy. But anyway, family, we are coming to the end of our show for today, and I keep on agreeing with General Mosquito. He said that Africa is suffering for no reason, and I agree with you, General Mosquito, 100%. Africans, we're suffering for no reason, but you know why we're suffering? Because we're just docile. We're not even educated on what we're supposed to fear, on what we're not supposed to fear. We're just like, oh, so the Europeans said this. Okay, we flow with the beat. We flow with the whatever they are saying. But anyway, asanteni sana. Thank you for being with us, and to everybody who interacted. And also, I see General Mosquito, you said the South Africans have no electricity because of because all the pinkies are enjoying it. Oh my god, Jerome was going to go home. But anyway, asante sana for being with us on today's episode. It has been a great show, and I hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. And also thank you to all those who kept it interactive, to all those who are with me on the show, and to all those who shall be watching a replay of this. Kindly make sure you smash the like button, and before you leave, make sure you smash the like button. Kwaherini, enjoy the rest part of your day. Make sure you join the men on the Black Kings frequency. I don't think we shall be having the word of the street today. But anyway, Kwaherini, enjoy the rest part of your day.
All the way in Switzerland, and you're tuning into the Black Hot Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Captain.